Hello everyone, I hope all of you are keeping well. Welcome to my YouTube channel Aditi Jain. I am here to improve your English learning experience. I upload new videos twice a week. You can connect with me through my website. The link is there in the description. Without further ado, let's start with today's video. Today I'm going to take up My Mother at 66 Grade 12th poem by Kamla Das. Once again, welcome everyone to today's class, and what we are going to do in the poem is we will be looking at not only the explanation but we will also be looking at analysis, characters, whosoever is involved, the poetess background, and literary devices. Basically, everything that is involved in the poem, we'll be looking at that in total detail. I hope all of you have already liked, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If not, then please do so and hit the bell button so that you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. So along with the background themes and summary, we'll be also having a look at a lot of brainstorming and activity based question. So please keep in mind that this is just not a video where you will listen, but you will be required to take active part in it. Kamla Das is popularly known as Madhav Kutti. It is her pen name, and this poem actually highlights the human bonding. It talks about the beautiful relationship that a mother and daughter shares, and as a daughter, what could be her deep desires, what could be her deep insecurity, what could be her deep fear. As a child, we always fear losing our parents. We always fear what will happen to us when our parents will not be there. I know this is not a thought which is very unique to me, but it is a thought, it is a fear shared by every individual, be it of any age. Our parents are scared of losing their parents, we are scared of losing them. As and when we move up in our age, when we become elder, this fear is actually increasing with every passing day, because we are increasing in age, but so does our parents. That is why this phenomena, this fear, this insecurity is displayed very beautifully in the poem. How the poetess is fearing for her mother, how she thinking that what will happen to the mother. She's thinking, what will she do if the mother will not be there. Okay, this was just the basic intro. Let's get deep, let's dive deeper into the video so that we can analyze every trivial thing that is there. My Mother at 66 by Kamla Das. Driving from my parents' home to Kochi last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. Doors, open mouth, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, worn, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old, familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." All I did was smile and smile and smile. Okay, now let's break the stanzas and let's have an explanation, stanza wise explanation. So, the first stanza talks about driving from my parents' home to Kochi last Friday morning. I saw my mother beside me, doors, open mouth, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away. So now what can we see in the poem? What is happening? The poet is actually driving from her parents' home to Cochin's airport. So she has gone probably to visit her parents over there, and she's coming back to the airport, and her mother is her companion in the ride back to the airport. They are just sitting on the back of the car, and both of them are looking outside the window. And when she was looking outside the window, she also cares to look at her mother's face, and sudden realization hits her, because when she looked at the mother was actually sleeping. She was open mouth, like old people do sleep anywhere, anytime. So she was just sleeping, and she was very old, very inactive, very frail, and she was very cold and lifeless. Because just imagine, she's 66 years old. She's definitely an aged person. You cannot expect her to be all dancing and giggling at the back of the seat. She just cannot do that. She's not of that age. The moment of gazing at her mother made her realize that the mother is actually in a declining age, and to her, to Kamla Das, at that particular moment, the mother appeared as a dead body, as a corpse. And when she thought about this idea, when she thought that, mother is probably aged, and it could probably be the case that when I visit her the next time, she might not be there. This thought, the moment she thought this idea, this notion, the moment it crept in her mind, she quickly just parted away from this thought. She just made her mind divert. She just diverted her mind from this idea. And how did she divert her mind? By looking outside the window and not looking or not gazing at her mother. Okay, so this was the first stanza, that is, driving from my parents' home to Kochi last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, dozed, open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away. I hope the first stanza is clear to everyone. Let's quickly hop on to the second stanza. And looked out at young sprinting trees, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, worn pale as a late winter's moon. So now when the girl, that is when Kamla Das, was looking outside the car window, what did she see? At that moment, she saw how the trees were appearing to be running. The car was moving, and it was moving at a great speed, and due to that, it appeared that the trees were also running along with the car. So she also saw how young children, they were so joyous, they were so merry because they were coming out of their homes to go to the playground. This comparison is just done in order to show what was outside the car and what was inside the car. Inside the car was inactivity, lifelessness, no action at all, the agedness of the mother, while on the other hand, outside the car was youth, young children, joy, laughter, fun. All these things were outside the car. All the images that were there, these images were in contrast to the aged and frail mother. Running trees and young children, they symbolize youth, life, happiness, and jubilation. So after this, when the poet looked at her mother's face after she was done with the security check, she again realized that her mother was weak, pale, and she was colorless, similar to a hazy late winter's moon. She was colorless, dull, lifeless. If you have ever witnessed a hazy winter moon, then you will see that the moon is very colorless, it's very hazy, you cannot make out the charm of the moon, there is no shining bright light of the moon is not there. So similarly, the poet's mother's face has been compared to a winter's hazy moon, that the mother's face also appeared to be very dull, very frail, it had no charm at all, and it was absolutely very dull, pale, all these things. Okay, now I'm going to read the second stanza again, so that whatever query could be there, you are just able to sort it out. And looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, worn pale as the late winter's moon. Okay, now with this we move on to the third stanza, and which is also the last stanza. Again, as I said, that the poem is very simple. You cannot say that it's a very long poem. Firstly, it is very simple, and also it has very simple vocabulary. So I hope all of you are making sense out of it up till now. Let's continue. And felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." All I did was smile and smile and smile. So we all have seen how the poetess found out that her mother's face looked like colorless, very pale, and she was weak, aged, and it appeared that she might not live longer. and she has compared a mother's face to a dead body, also to a late winter's moon. Now, continuing with that, she thinks whatever colorless face was there, that face instantly reminded the girl, instantly reminded a poetess of a childhood fear. And what was the childhood fear? Obviously, it was of losing her mother. Though she was scared till death, though she was highly scared, still she did not confronted, or she did not let out her insecurities in public, and she just told her amma that see you soon, and which is a very great example of hope. Because if she was worried, she might have said something, she might have become emotional, all of these things could have been there, but instead what happened, there was an element of hope over there, and she just said that see you soon amma, and these were her parting words. Parting words were actually a symbolism of hope and acceptance, that this is what is bound to happen. She believes that she will be seeing her mother again. With this hope, she makes a move. With this hope, she moves forward. The fear of losing the mother is haunting, yet she kept a very brave face in front of her. Obviously, nobody can, equate the fear, or nobody can equate the loss of a loved one, the loss of particularly parents. And all of us, we know that mothers are very, very important, and we just cannot even imagine losing them. So just think about her mindset, think about the feelings, think about the emotions that she might be going through. I believe once you will understand her emotions, once you will understand her mentality, the understanding the poem also will become easy. And this was all about the third stanza. And felt that old familiar ache, my childhood fear, but all I said was see you soon amma, and all I did was smile and smile and smile. Okay, now we're done with the explanation of the poem, but then again, explanation was just a part of the entire video. We'll also look at the other things. In front of you, there are some illustrations. Look at these illustrations, probably you will understand further. Age is a very natural phenomena, and it's a very natural process. No one can say that, I have tasted elixir and I will not be aging anymore. I'm not going to age. The next 100 years, I will be of the same age. That is actually not possible. So, the concept of age, the concept of aging, the concept of generation gap, the concept of aging parents, this concept has been described here very beautifully. Time and aging has spared no one, and this aging and separation, death is inevitable. It is bound to happen one day or the other. In the image that is up there, you can see how people from two generations, they have their own things. We always have, you must have experienced this yourself, how your parents are busy in their own things, and how your grandparents are busy in their own things, and yet you are busy in your own things. There's so many days, so many chances wherein all of you, all the three generations live in the same house, yet you don't exchange any kind of conversation throughout the entire day. This is what is bound to happen if you will not find a middle path. All of you are busy with your own stuff. It is very natural, it is very okay, because we have our own life, they have their own life, and we sometimes think that they don't understand that we are kind of busy. And this is what the concept over here is. In the poem too, the image of the young children spilling out of their homes, it's an absolute contrast to what the grandmother was actually doing, what the mother was actually doing. And the mother was dozing, and she was, there was a melancholic scene inside the car, while outside it was a very happy sight. Beauty of the poem lies in this contrast. It lies in this absolute contrast. With this, I'm done with the explanation of the poem. If you have any query, there is an open platform. You can comment down your queries, and I will definitely reach back to you as soon as possible. Don't pile on your queries. If you have a query, ask it out. Don't just keep it in your head. Activity time. If you are guilty of not spending enough time with your aging parents or grandparents, make sure that you go and hug them today, and make sure that whatever happens, however busy you are, Whatsoever you are occupied with, you will always at least share one meal in the entire day with your entire family, because this is the time that you will cherish in the long run. So make sure this is not just an activity, it's my request. Understand the generation gap, understand what they are going through, and try to make them understand what you are going through. Because if you will communicate, things will become easy and there will be no space for miscommunication. Okay, now moving to the next part of the video, which will be the literary device and the rhyme scheme of the poem. I have already uploaded one video of literary device where I have explained 10 literary devices in detail with a lot of examples. I'm going to tag the video somewhere here. Make sure that you watch that video if you're not able to understand any of the literary device, how is it used in the poem, because in that video I've used a lot of explanations and a lot of examples actually. So I think that will be helpful. Okay, talking about the rhyme scheme that is used over here, the rhyme scheme used in My Mother at 66 is a free verse, because if you will read the poem clearly, you will see that there is no definite rhyme scheme. You cannot make out any rhyming words. There are no such rhyming words. So when there is no such rhyming words, and when there is no pattern whatsoever, then it is called to be written in free verse. The next literary device that is used in the poem is simile, and as you know that simile is the usage of words like as and like, and they're used for comparison, direct comparison. In the poem we have seen that how the mother's face has been compared to a dead body. So face ashen like that of a corpse. The second simile used is again comparison of the mother's face to the winter's moon. So pale as a late winter's moon. Moving on to the next literary device, that is personification. We have seen how the trees were sprinting, they were running. Actually trees do not run, and running is kind of an ability that only living beings can do. That is why young trees sprinting is an example of personification. Moving on to the next literary device, which is metaphor, which is kind of an indirect comparison. And over here we can say merry children spilling out. This is a metaphor because it has been compared, contrast has been used over there. The next is repetition, which is very easy to identify in the last line when it says smile and smile and smile. The word smile has been repeated. The next is imagery or contrast, and merry children spilling out of their homes. It is exuberant youth and the spring of life, the happiness that is there. With this particular image, you can see how happy the sight could be, how happy the scene could be. Okay, the next contrast that is used is the morbid atmosphere that is inside the class and frail and inactive mother. These two things are kind of contrasting. How the children playing outside, they're full of life and it's kind of the spring of life, and how the sight inside the car is very morbid and it seems like there's an approaching death over there. Life and death, both the things have been expressed very beautifully, and there's a contrast. Now there are a couple of questions which I want all of you to have a look at. Question number 1 is, what were the poet's feeling as she drove to Cochin Airport? Why are the young trees described as sprinting? Question number 3 says, what does the poet compare her mother's face with? Make sure that you attempt these questions, and if you want to check, if you want me to check whatever you have attempted, you can write down your answers in the YouTube comment section and I will definitely get back to you. Now one more activity that I want from all of you is, make sure that you hear the poem out. The beauty of understanding the poem or poetry is only and only in hearing it out and saying it out loud. Listening to the poem will not only help you in improving your pronunciation, but will also help you in achieving a concrete and crystal clear explanation and analysis. So make sure you check this item or tick this item off your bucket list. It's very important. This I always instruct my students to do. Okay, moving on. I'm just going to read out the poem once again so that all of you can understand. Still, if there is a scope of any query, you can reach out, ask. Driving from my parents' home to Kochi last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doze, open mouth, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away. and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, worn pale as late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache. My childhood's fear, but all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." All I did was smile and smile and smile. I hope all of you have understood the poem well. I am now going to share one small summary and we'll soon wind up this video. So, the poem revolves around the theme of advancing age and the fear that adheres to its loss and separation. It's a sentimental account of the mother's approaching end towards through the eyes of the daughter. We have not anywhere seen how the mother is feeling. We are only seeing how the daughter is feeling while thinking about all of these things. The seemingly short poem touches upon the theme of the filial bond between the mother and the daughter, smeared in the backdrop of nostalgia and fear. Nostalgia of the past, the beautiful time she has spent with the mother, and the fear of the future without her. That is what she is most scared for. Even the joyous imagery outside the car wasn't able to free the poet from a haunting and painful thoughts of losing a mother. Even though the kids were happy outside, they were playing, the trees were running, all of these things also did not give any escape to the daughter. She continuously thought about that and continuously was haunted by the thought of losing a mother. The poet sets aside all her insecurities and bids farewell to the old and aged mother with hope and positivity. And that is the catch here. That is how the poetess is trying to explain to us that, death is inevitable. It will happen. Instead of crying for what will happen tomorrow, make sure that you're happy in spending your present. Because undoubtedly, the time that you're going to spend with your family and with your loved ones, be it friends, family, you're going to miss that time. You're going to cherish that forever. Okay, with this, I finally wind up my video. Thank you so much for joining today's class. I'm sure that all of you must have understood. Feel free to connect. All my social media handles are attached over here, be it website, Facebook, Insta, Twitter, everything is attached over here. Make sure that you're tuned to my YouTube channel because I will be sharing the LSRW building videos in the month of June. Don't forget to like, share and comment and subscribe. Share my channel with your friends, with your fellow classmates. And I will be seeing you very soon with the latest video. Till then, take care, stay safe. Bye-bye.